Caregiver tsunami. It's coming. Are you ready? By the year 2030 in America, the number of older Americans will double. That's creating a caregiver tsunami. Now, people often ask, what is the definition of an older person? For AARP, it's 50 years of age. The United Nations says it's 60 years of age and older. But the real definition of an older person, think about it, is someone who's 20 years older than we are. Let's face it, we're all getting older. When Paul McCartney sang When I'm 64, it seemed like science fiction to us. Now today, he's older than 64, and most of his fans are as well. We've gone from happy hour to getting closer and closer to that early bird special. For every household in America, there are issues that we're facing as caregivers. And for every older person, there can be as many as 20 caregivers involved with that care. Children, grandchildren, other relatives, family, friends, and neighbors, all involved in the process. Our society will be changing in every way because of this caregiver tsunami. So how do we deal with this? As caregivers, we need to be ready. We need to be able to act instead of react to situations, dealing with all kinds of a cast of characters. First of all, our families play games. Our parents play I've got a secret, just like we did when we were teenagers to them. They don't tell us important information we need to be able to help them. Or they play I'd rather do it myself. I've found many seniors on ladders or trying to deal with their gutters and ending up with accidents or falls. So that can get in the way of caregiving. Other family members play games as well. Remember sibling rivalry? Remember when you ran to try to get the front seat of the car? Well, that sibling rivalry will come out once again in caregiving. And so dealing with brothers and sisters or other family members can be an issue, particularly if we don't like each other. Also, you'll have the out-of-town expert showing up. That person who rarely helps with the caregiving, but then they show up and let you know everything that you've done wrong in that caregiving process. And then there's the famous Cinderella stepmom. With blended families these days, the caregiving experience becomes even trickier, and particularly with estate planning. There's that ever popular phrase, where there's a will, there's a relative. We also have games that get played by the system. Too many doctors in the hospital, just like you can have too many cooks in the kitchen. So you'll have a myriad of specialists with conflicting reports, conflicting diagnoses, and confusion resulting. You can have overworked and overwrought employees in the healthcare system who think that they're too busy to help you. They often forget about customer service. Another game that gets played by the system is musical beds. I knew of one frail senior in his 80s who was discharged from one hospital, went to a step-down hospital, then went to a nursing home, then back to the original hospital within 2.5 weeks. Tremendous stress and pain for him and his family, and I believe the system didn't save one penny in that process. Then there's the maze of care. When we go to a festival and have to figure out a maze and get through without stopping, sometimes that's fun, but the maze of care with the system of long-term care in place can be very frustrating for us. So how do we deal with those games? And how do we marshal those needed resources in order to make the caregiving experience a good one for us and for our loved ones? As employers, we can manage that fine balancing act by providing support to our caregivers, preventing chaos on their end, and allowing them to maintain their status as an outstanding employee. By being ahead of the game, we can prevent them from going into a crisis mode and allow that experience so that we can manage the bottom line and yet support them as well. As consumers, it's very true that aging well is the best revenge. Most of us have gone to a class reunion, looked across the room and said, do I look as old as that person over there? By marshaling our resources, remaining independent, and maintaining quality of life. As providers, we need to be ready for this tsunami of care as well. We can't do business in the same old way. We need to take a look at the demographics, the changes that are occurring as we're moving from servicing the greatest generation to the baby boomers. They will have high demands. Keep in mind that the soccer moms and the hockey moms are now making those decisions in terms of long-term care. Also, the myriad of changes in the long-term care system and our healthcare environment in general is going to require us to think on our feet and act quickly and decisively, moving to new directions. Finally, as communities, we need to be able to reach out to our caregiver residents and address those needs of our caregiver tsunami. Are we ready for the changes that are occurring in our communities? We need to create communities for aging well. We need to address the needs of our residents, whether it's how we build our buildings, walkable communities, and providing services. Are we encouraging an environment that will be able to address their needs, or are we discouraging that? As a community, we can be ready by becoming a community for the future. Our survival depends upon it. To learn more, you can arrange a speaking engagement or purchase my book, Caregiver Tsunami, by contacting my publicist, Lisa Sawicki. Her email address is lisapublicity@gmail.com, and her phone number is 248-399-3311. Caregiver Tsunami, it's coming. Are you ready?